Well, I guess I'd have to take a very biased opinion of that. Local government is probably the tier that is the closest to the citizen. So I guess being a little bit favouristic towards that. Yeah, we're definitely doing well. But also, it's probably about collaborating together, whether it be local, state or federal. If we actually openly collaborate and work effectively, we all have the same person. Our customer is the same person at the end of the day. So instead of perhaps competing, where we can operate together, we can actually get the best outcome. And Steve mentioned MyGov before. That's something in our organisation we've talked about, where why should we have a My Adelaide City Council member, for example? Why can't we just use the MyGov platform? As you heard, it's very easy to integrate too. Is that the way forward for local government in our state? Possibly. But yeah, I would say, as opposed to competing, we definitely favour working collaboratively through a good outcome.
Very diplomatic of you.
Although they've got a lot of money at the Fed level, so if they want to share that, we're always open.
Well, it's very much the same situation as with the banks, the story that we heard before. So anything the Commonwealth does with regard to big service delivery, IT-enabled stuff, is necessarily a really big deal. So state governments have, in some ways, a bit more luxury to do smaller, more innovative things, because they're individually not as big projects. So anything Centrelink does, DHS, is just a huge project, which makes it high risk and very difficult. So in some ways, we're snapping at their heels a bit with smaller innovations which we can deliver more quickly, which can, I think, in some ways capture the digital innovation agenda a little bit. But of course, anything really big remains a difficult problem for both federal and or any level of government. So we tend to be shying away from big IT projects and preferring to do smaller, more agile things which can deliver results without the same agony. But by and large, what is changing in this space is the availability of actual services as a service model. So MyGov is an example of that. We're also talking to the federal government with the reuse of PRODA, which is their authentication platform which they've created for authenticating community services organisations into the National Disability Insurance Scheme. If you look out to other jurisdictions, there's lots of attempts, but the catalyst for actually being able to do it is for agencies to stand up real services in a real service management model, not just a kind of let me reuse something that I've already built, which never really works sustainably, not accompanied with a proper service model. So MyGov's a good example where the Commonwealth has actually invested in the creation of a proper service model. We can consume it. It costs $45,000 to integrate to it, and not much a year to run. It makes sense. It's a good service. So that's what we need. So if agencies can start implementing services in that way on an arm's length basis, it's possible to reuse them.
We haven't necessarily borrowed, but we've definitely learned, I guess, from other governments in South Australia. Sharing of services is probably a very topical thing that we're actually working on in my organisation, have done for years now. I'm not sure if the other states have it, but in South Australia we have a thing called a one library system. So irrespective of your local council, you can order a book online and it'll be delivered to whichever the closest library to you is. Now that book stock is a collection of every council's collection. Okay, so there's efficiencies obviously in that from end to end. But taking that one step further, the work we have been pursuing and working on in that space is around platforms specifically for me. Can we actually have a one council concept? So every council has its own strategies, its localised political issues and everything else, their own strategic directions. We don't necessarily need to have one super council that covers an entire state or city necessarily, and you can imagine the political issues that go with that. But it doesn't mean to say we can't function and operate as a single entity for the customer. They can continue to operate locally, but they could also continue to operate anywhere that they are, whether it be a local council or whether it be a holiday house in a different council. One service point across an entire city or even a state definitely a novel idea. But technology and platforms can actually deliver that.